Okay, this is a really informal video. I just wanted to take a look at the performance of two sets of forecasts that were made on March 21st. The purpose of all this is really to do a real-time test of the AI neural network stock performance predictor system. I've been working on it since about 2015. Did some yearly forecasts then. And then a friend of mine convinced me to shorten the time window, so I've got it working for 20 trading day forecast windows. And so the way it would work is an investment would be made, and well, let me just say there's 12 forecast windows in a year roughly. So an investment would be made in the first forecast. At the end, excuse me, the investment, the stock is sold, whether it's gain or loss, and then reinvested in the next round, and so on and so forth. Now, if you achieve a 5% return, or I think it's just under 6% every investment window, and there's 12 in a year, and keep reinvesting it, that gives you a little over 100% return a year, which it is really good, obviously. But my point there is that we're not trying to shoot for super high gains every window. We just like to average 3, 4, even like 3 or 4% still will get you what, maybe 60, 70% return in the year. And so the way, and one thing I just want to add is this is not advice for purchasing stock. I don't own any of these stocks that I've been tracking. This is solely for doing a real-time test of the system. So before the time window, I post what the stocks will be. That way there's proof that I wasn't doing it after the fact. Now in this case, it was later in the morning. That's because I got behind schedule. Should have been done on Sunday, but still it was on the 21st, and the time window goes from the 21st, actually not April 18th, it would be the previous Friday because it's 20 trading days. But anyway, so for the first forecast, there was 3 stocks selected, and the way it works is an equal investment would be made in each amount. So if it was $1,000 invested in CIF, there'd be 1,000 in NTP and 1,000 in VHC. The other rule is that there's a stop loss set. The historical forecast testing was done with 3%, and I'm kind of experimenting real time, but I'm looking at 3%, which I'll show you in just a minute. So we're 2 weeks halfway through the forecast window, and I'm going to look at where the 2 forecast sets are. So for the first one, we're right now at about minus 0.58% return, which is a little disappointing. The next one is better, but that's okay. It still has 2 weeks to recover, and if you look through the Twitter threads, you can see that even with the historical forecast testing, there are losses. You will have losses, and that's to be expected. But when you do win or get wins, they far outpace the losses magnitude-wise, and that's where you get the big propulsive force forward, so to speak. So let's look at each of the 3 stocks. The 3% loss limit or stop loss was applied, and NTP was kicked out the very first day. This red star stands for when the limit was hit. So for the rest of the time period, it's going to stay at a minus 3% because you sold the stock. Now, this is what the stock was doing during that time anyway. VHC, same thing. First day hit the limit, and that would be sold. So the only stock left would be CIF. So we have two losers and 1 winner, so to speak, currently. This appears to be having a trend upwards. So if the trend continues, then we may move into positive territory. We've got 2 more weeks. We'll see what happens. All right, so the next prediction, which was actually done a little bit after the opening bell, but again on March 21st, was 6 stocks: ARLP, ASML, BWA, DOX, Copen, and VWTR. And so we'll take a look at how they were doing. Now they're doing a little bit better. Right now we're, again, 2 weeks into the 4-week forecast window, and we're at 5.1%. This is the average of all the stocks. And so we'll take a look at each one. So for ARLP, we're at around 6% gain right now, holding, and that's nice. ASML, we're kind of bouncing around a little bit of positive territory, negative, so near zero. BWA was kicked out, hit the 3% limit on the third day, so that stock is just, that money, so to speak, would be left with a 3% loss just sitting there. Dox is still in the game, appears to be trending a little up, we'll see. Copen was kicked out on the very first day, so that would be a minus 3% loss just sitting there, and this is what the stock actually did. Now, the one that really moved us was VWTR. This stock actually had about a almost 30% gain in 10 days. And so this is the one that really has helped pull everything up to the near 5%. But that's how the system works. Typically, you'll have one or two, depends on the total number of stocks, that are the real winners that will pull the rest along. And so this is not unusual in terms of what I've seen in the historical forecast testing. So anyway, that's where we're at for the 2-week midway period of the forecast window. We've got one set that's sitting at about 5% return. And again, if it was still at 5% in 2 weeks, that's good enough. Although it's good to get higher returns so that we can offset the losses as well. This seems to be trending up, as I said, mainly because of this big winner right here, but we'll see what happens. And then we'll see whether this one starts to recover. Again, everything is depending on this stock right here because these two got kicked out, but this does have a positive trend upwards, so in a couple weeks maybe we'll be in positive territory. So that's it for now. Just wanted to review the stocks, the two sets of forecasts that were done 2 weeks ago, to kind of and then I'll be doing the same for the other stocks once each group hits the 2-week period, halfway point, to kind of see where we're at.